Hey everyone, welcome back to the SoCal C4 YouTube channel. Now today, I have a special video for you all. We are going to be going step by step, removing a steering wheel so that you guys see how to remove the stock C4 Corvette steering wheel. And we will be opening up and installing a brand new steering wheel with a wood look, which is going to be going towards how I want, my car to be built. And we will also be installing a horn contact retainer clip, which my car was missing, and that hopefully will help when I'm trying to restore my horns to functioning. Now, for today's video, you are going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, a 13mm socket, a 21mm socket, and a steering wheel puller kit. Now this kit in particular, I got from O'Reilly's. It cost me $80. It was, really good. And the cool thing is it's on their loaner program. So I basically purchased this, but if I take this back into O'Reilly's after I'm done with my job, they'll give me a full refund. So if anyone's looking for a cheap way of doing this and they don't need to hold on to these tools, they're doing a one-off job, I highly recommend getting these on loan. And if you take a look inside, just so you all can see what we have going on in here, what we're going to want are these, which are the E's right here. And if I read down here, the E's are the 5/16 by 18-inch bolts. And this pressure, I think it's called a pressure bolt. Where is it numbered? Number F. Yeah, a pressure screw. And finally, this. These are all you're going to need from the kit. These are all for other jobs. Today, all we need are these. So, without further ado, let's get on into the car and start removing our old steering wheel. Now, when removing a steering wheel, especially in one of these Corvettes, the first thing you want to do is remove these two screws right here. You always want to start with these because otherwise you will not be able to get this right here out, and then you won't be able to get this out. So you want to grab these. They're very tiny, so you want to make sure you can keep track of them. In my case, I'm going to be tossing them in this bucket where I've been tossing old stuff in. They're very unique looking screws, so I highly doubt you will lose track of them in a container like this. And now that I've got them, I want to take my Phillips and I want to hold my steering wheel while oh damn, this thing's stripped. I may end up having to use something like this to pry it initially, like so. And now that it's free floating, we can use our Phillips to move it out the rest of the way. And honestly, we can just hand turn it to get it out the rest of the way. And this will allow us to remove this back here, which is going to be in the way of our job when we're trying to remove the steering wheel. This you're also going to want to keep track of because we will need to reinstall it once we go to put this steering wheel back on. With this, what you want to do is you want to try to rotate it, and it'll just come right out like that. And with that, we now have access to this nut on the steering wheel. And this nut is where we will need our 21mm. I believe that if I set it to this on this ratchet, it's loosened. Yeah, it is. So you want to hold your steering wheel steady, and you want to break the nut loose, and then you can just hand turn it out, and it'll come right out. And now with that, we're good to start installing our puller kit. Now I like to start with the lower bolt first. So you want to take this bolt, you want to put your ratchet on, and you want to just twist it in a little bit. You don't want to twist it in all the way, but you want it threaded, right? And then you want to do the same thing with this other one, like so. Oh, my bad. I'm going to cut this out. And then you want to take this right here, and you want to rest it right about on this little ledge on the steering wheel that you can see here. And that'll keep it centered. And that will also allow you to take this bolt and thread that through like so. So you can see that it is in there now. And I'm going to twist that in. Now these don't have to be the same level. I like to get them decently far down so that I don't have to screw in the pressure screw as much. But you don't need to do that. You could just stop once you have them decently threaded. And basically the way it works is this will press on the steering wheel and force it to come up against these screws. And it's really easy. All you do is take your pressure screw and you want to start threading it through this, and you want to make sure that it presses into the center there. It won't screw through, so you don't have to worry about it threading through the center of the column there. Now it will take a little bit to thread this through, so I'm just going to continue threading it through like this. And once it's a good ways through, you'll see it start to align with the hole there. And once it's pressed against it, that's when you'll really be able to start making progress on getting the wheel off. Now the wheel should just slide straight off once you start doing this. You want to make sure this is pressed down so that it stays in the center, and you can see it is rising, and you'll see it start to press. So you can see now it's pressing against these screws, and this is where you can just screw on the pressure screw, and you see it pops off just like that. There will be a little bit of resistance at first, and then it'll come straight off. So just be aware of that. Now we've got our steering wheel off. We can leave these threaded in. For now anyway. We won't have them threaded in when we're putting the new steering wheel on, but we're not putting this steering wheel back on anyway. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to get to the first part of today's job, and that part is putting in our retainer clip. Now this retainer clip supposedly is part of, oh, that's a bunch of wires. I have a lot of loose wires in this car from when I was trying to run a horn wire before I understood how the horn worked. This retainer clip is supposed to be part of the horn circuit. And supposedly, according to some people in my comment section, I was missing it, and that's why my horns weren't connecting. Now, I don't know for sure if this is the only issue, but it is an issue that I'm aware of. So it looks like this. I ordered this one from Eckler's. My first time ordering anything from them. It came pretty promptly. And it was cheaper than any other place I could find it on. I am just going to rip the packaging because I will not have any need for it in the future. And with the packaging ripped, we can take our retainer clip and we can take this, get back in. Also, for future reference for any new C4 owners, never press against the steering column because you will knock it loose. So never press on the steering wheel when getting out. You want to turn and kind of lean out, use the side of the car as support if you need to. So now what we're going to be doing is I'm going to take these off first. These you want to make sure you put back on, otherwise your wheel will not be able to telescope. And then we take this clip and we press it down right on here, I believe. Now, you will have to press it a little bit, but it should kind of snap on. And now with that clip in place, hopefully, we should have power to the horns, which I will check later. And then all you need to do is take this, press it back on in that order. So thin, thick, thin. And with that on, we are now clear to take the spring off of this steering wheel. I'm going to get a new spring at some point, but we're going to reuse our old one for now until I can order a new one and get it put on. I'm going to keep this steering wheel for the time being until I can find a use for it, or until I can sell it. If anyone just needs a steering wheel. It's not, I mean, they come pretty expensive, and I'm sure if someone wanted to restore that one, it's not the worst condition. But now, we're going to come to the best part. Well, actually first, before I dirty my new steering wheel, I'm going to try to wipe some of this rust off. Now, I could clean this more, but right now, all we really need this for is for the horns. Actually, you know what? Scratch all of that. I'm going to hold on to this screw. I'm going to order a new one because it's like 25 bucks off eBay. That way I don't get the new steering wheel dirty, because you don't need, or not that screw, it's a spring. I keep calling it a screw. You do not need that spring for the steering wheel to go on. You only need it to complete the horn circuit. Now, this is the part that everyone has been excited for. This is the new steering wheel. I got it off Top Flight Automotive for $310. It was on sale. With shipping, it was like $380, but it was $100 less than any other site I found. So this is my new steering wheel. It's very clean, it's very robust, it's very solid. You can see it's the same style as the previous one, only with different covering. Very nice to grip, and it looks fabulous. I'm a very big fan of it. Now what we're going to want to do is we want to pull these 5/16 bolts out, because we're going to need one of them for the next part of this job. So I'm going to unscrew one by hand. Don't worry about that steering wheel, it isn't needed. And what we need to do, we need to make sure this telescoping part of the steering column is pulled all the way up. And then we want to take our steering wheel and we want to try to line up. You'll see there's some teeth in there. You want to try to line up the teeth with the center of the steering column. And then, to make sure that the steering column doesn't slip, you want to twist in one of these bolts so that you can pull the center of the steering column out. And you want to do this just so that you can kind of fit the steering wheel on, which it should be on now, I believe. Oh, nope, it didn't fit itself on. I'm guessing with this new steering wheel it might need to slide on a bit, and I could maybe put grease or something on. But once you have it on, you need to take this nut and you can unscrew this bolt. Oh yeah, it's not supposed to go on there as much as I thought it was. And then you just screw that nut on to hold it in place. And then you want to go ahead and tighten it. So I'm going to hold the steering wheel in place with my legs, and I'm going to tighten this nut so that this is mounted properly onto the column. And you can see it is pressing it down. That looks good. And I believe that also changes how deep onto the steering column it goes. So you probably don't want to screw that in too much, but that'll hold it in place. That doesn't sound right, actually. Wait. No, I think it reaches a certain point. Oh, yep. You just have to hold the steering wheel out and keep twisting, and then eventually you'll reach a point where it wants to twist the steering wheel more than the nut. And once you reach that point, you're good. I don't remember the exact pressure that you want for it, but that's a good, estimation range. And you can see this steering wheel, so much cleaner, so much better shape than the previous one. This looks wonderful. I'm really happy with how this looks. Now, this is the part where if I had a new one, I would take this plate and press it in. And when you press this plate in, it presses in with this bit kind of down here, and then you would have your horn button on it, and then you would just press it in. I'm waiting for mine to be shipped in because I don't want to use this rusty old one and my horn button fell apart. So I will show you guys how to do that in probably one of my TikToks at some point. But yeah, that's really all there is to this job. Now all we have left to do is we take this and this. You want to put these in, and for this one you're going to want to rotate it as you bring it in. If I can remember the correct way to do this, you want the pointy end facing towards you. You slide it in, and then you just kind of twist it around, and then you can just slot it in like so, and it sits perfectly right there. And then from there you can take this screw and start twisting it on. Now mine's a little stripped out, so I'm probably going to order a new one of these screws as well. Besides, it is old and rusty, so I'm not a big fan of that. But you want to screw this down basically until it won't go anymore. Now, as you can see on mine, two of the ends are a bit cleaner. Those are the ends that have the screws. So when I'm screwing this down, I'm going to want to make sure that those ends, when I get it all the way down, line up. So you can see it's getting really far down. It doesn't want to go anymore, but this end needs to line up over at this end. So you are going to have to twist it a good bit, and this is a part where I may need to do this method, and I get it lined up like so. And now that it's lined up, we can take those two little screws from the start of this job, and we can simply screw them straight on. Oh, I dropped one of them. You got to be very careful of that. You will lose them in this interior if they fall into any of the seats. And then you take them. You want to hold this forward a bit as well so that it doesn't push it back, because it will misalign if you do not hold it steady. Like you can see, I'm having to really hold it. Man, it is not wanting to go in there. Am I misaligned somehow? Oh, I am slightly misaligned. I see. So if I do this now, maybe I have to try the other end. Let me twist this into alignment a bit more. You guys are seeing like the raw experience of doing this. Oh, and it has a new one of these clips too, which I needed. So it's nice that I don't have to replace that on my old one because I just have it on my new one. But again, you want to... Oh, crap. Oh, wait, I didn't even need to tighten the bolt that tight. What I probably could have done is just done it at the top. Damn it, where did that screw go? I believe I may have lost the little screw. Things like this do happen. I have a little magnet that I can probably use to fish it out. Okay, so this is definitely technical difficulties. You guys won't be able to see what I'm doing here for a second because I am actively trying to fish this little screw out. That's a predicament. That is not good. It is stuck behind this metal, or this plastic clip on the front of the hub. I may be fine with one screw for now, which, now that I think about it, may have also dropped. This is not good. This is quite the predicament. I will cut back to when I have found the stuff. Hey guys, I'm back. So I've discovered something that is quite interesting about these old screws. They are too short for the new steering wheel. The new steering wheel hub presses against this and doesn't allow it to come as far forward as it used to be able to. So what I ended up having to do instead is I have taken a few extra screws I had lying around my car. Thankfully, most of the screws in this car are the same diameter. And I screwed them in. It's very solid. You know, moving this causes the whole steering wheel to jiggle. So, you know, it works well. And then in order to let it adjust, you can do this. And this is how you change whether or not your wheel can telescope. So when it's to the left, it'll telescope. When it's to the right, it won't. I may end up loosening this a little bit, honestly. But yeah, so that is how you install a new steering wheel and remove your old one. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below in the comment section. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.